Hi, everybody. I am excited to talk to you today about a topic that I love, and that topic is grit. I want to share my screen with you and show you a PowerPoint that I think will help you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Grit is pretty near and dear to my heart. I've done some presentations on it, but probably the biggest reason why I love talking about grit is because of the little engine that could. The little engine that could, as you know, said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And this was something that my dad talked about with us all the time, is that you have to try something in order to make it work or in order to be successful. And actually, one of the things he always said is can't, never did anything. And that was kind of the mentality of the little engine that could, and unfortunately is the mentality of a lot of our students. But what I want to talk to you about is how they can. Let's move from I think I can't or I can't do it to I think I can. We've actually raised a whole generation of kids that think that they can't. And probably one of the reasons that that happens is because they feel helpless, because we've helped them too much. We've done way too many things for them. And they, as a result of that, don't feel like they can try. We risk too little. We have kids who absolutely are afraid to take a risk because they're afraid of getting hurt or they're afraid to fail. Why? Because we swoop in and rescue them. We don't let them fall or forget or fail. We are constantly fixing it for them. And of course, we praise them all the time. We praise them for their performances. We rave about them and say how awesome, incredible, fantastic that they are, when really, maybe sometimes they're not. And finally, we have rewarded way too frequently. Somewhere along the line, we started giving prizes for mere participation. And as a result of that, kids think they have to have an end game or an end prize in order to even try something, which really has turned into something pretty ridiculous. As kids mature, they naturally grow stronger with deeper challenges when deeper challenges are introduced into their days. We have to foster maturity through challenges. We have to teach them that challenges are what will help them grow into mature adults. Angela Duckworth, the famed psychologist from the University of Pennsylvania, did an incredible job studying grit. And one of the things that she said is that people with grit do not believe that failure is a permanent condition. Our kids think that if they fail, that's the way it's always going to be. But Angela Duckworth says that people with grit realize that you have to fail in order to learn success. She says that true grit is the passion and persistence for a long-term goal. She says that we have to work towards something, that we have to be passionate about it. We have to stick to it, sometimes for a really long time. This sounds a lot like resilience, but the truth of the matter is that resilience is like training for a marathon, while grit is actually the running of a marathon. It says that when you hit that wall, you're going to keep going. She studied grit by looking at the cadets at West Point Academy, and she figured out through her grit scale, which I would invite you to look at. It's right there on the internet. It's not very long. You can do it with yourself, with your family, and most importantly, with your student council kids. But through all of this, Angela figured out that the greatest predictor of success was not rank, not leadership experience, not athletic ability, but grit. Kids who actually stuck with something or realized in their heart of hearts they needed to keep going. She also found out, which I think is incredible for us as far as student student leadership is concerned is that kids who have demonstrated a commitment to an extracurricular activity of at least 2 years are more likely to demonstrate follow through and grit. That's huge for us. That tells another important reason why leadership activities and extracurricular activities are so important to kids. When she talked about and studied grit, she obviously learned some pretty important factors that we can all benefit from, like follow through. As I mentioned, follow through is the greatest predictor of success. Achieving goals. We have to realize that we are going to fail, and failure is the only way that we develop grit. She says that we have to become part of a gritty culture. We have to dig down deep and surround ourselves with other people who are gritty. This helps us develop tradition and reputation. Just like in athletics, those teams that win over and over and over again are the ones that are the most gritty. Think about your Honor Council award. You've won Honor Council how many times? Because now there's a tradition involved for kids who want to do what other kids have done before them. It's grit that helps push that. It's not really talent alone or intelligence alone. What really counts is effort. We have to continue to pledge to kids and to preach to kids how important it is to try. I think I can. I think I can. There's four key components to grit. The first one is that you have to work hard even after you experience failure. You're going to mess up. Kids are going to mess up. We're going to feel like quitting. But if we keep going, that's one of the key components to learning grit. We have to know when to ask for help. You know that you have those kids who sit in your classroom and they get stumbled. They stumble. They don't know how to do something, and then they just stop. But if we teach them that asking for help is a good thing, then that helps them to learn grit. We have to make adjustments to our goals. I love to think of this as Plan B. We preach Plan B all the time. Plan B is important, and kids have to realize that everything is not going to happen the way that we expect it to every single time. So we have to be okay with Plan B and adjusting our goals. Being gritty means that we have to be passionate about whatever it is that we're working on. It's that we're going to do this. We can do this. That's excitement. And a lot of times that starts with you, but it also continues through your students. Having those student leaders in front who are passionate and excited about a project helps build grit in everybody else because they all find purpose in that. How are some ways that student council advisors can build grit with kids? I think this is really important. And there's a lot of things here, but I certainly am not going to talk about all of them, but definitely things to consider. Your growth mindset and a kid's growth mindset is extremely important. They have to challenge themselves, reframe their thinking, learn from their mistakes, and learn to say the word yet. You can do this all through a vision board. Think about each child or each kid in your classroom creating a vision board for something that they really want to learn and grow. But remember to teach them to say the word yet. Yet is kind of like the semicolon. There's life after. There's something that comes next. I don't know how to do this yet. I'm struggling with this right now, but I'll be able to do it later because I haven't yet mastered what I need to. Help them to learn the word yet. And then, of course, your attitude is so extremely important in all of this. That self-talk, that positive thinking will make all the difference in the world to your kids as they learn and grow through grit. We've talked a lot over the last several years about gratitude. Kids have to grow their gratitude, and they have to understand that when you are thankful and when you are thinking about gratitude, it takes the focus off of other things. It improves your relationships and your mental health, and it helps you connect to other people. It reduces stress and anxiety. That's how kids don't get so anxious and freaked out about failure then, because they're grateful for what they've been able to accomplish, or that relationship that they've been able to build with you or other kids. Grow their gratitude. Cultivate habits. I love this part because as student council people, we are always teaching kids to write their goals down. We talk about SMART goals and what's important. Have them write their goals down. Then they can check them off the list and they've accomplished something. But they also learn patience, because absolutely it takes time to reach goals, and they need to see that some things are established and reached quickly, and other things take longer to do. Those year-long committees realize that if we stick to it, we're going to accomplish something. We have to embrace failure. We have to realize that, and students have to realize that it's okay to fail. And one way that we can do that for them is being an example. You show your own vulnerability to them when you talk about your own failures, the things that you were not able to do when you were younger, or times that you failed in your life, but you grew through them and you learned something from them. Be vulnerable with your Stuco kids and teach them that it's okay to fail, because we're not going to get any better unless we do. Ask for help. As I mentioned before, a lot of kids are just now realizing that it's okay to ask for help, especially when their mental health is involved. But some of them don't even know where to turn for help. So help them understand that it takes courage to ask for help, but also show them the resources and places where they can ask for help, starting with you, of course. If you're finding your passion and you're helping kids figure out their passion, again, we need to think about what they love, something that they really like. Maybe a student is in charge of a committee that they really are passionate about. They're going to learn from these things, and you're going to help them stick to it, because they're going to figure out that it's okay to fail, but they're using their gifts and talents along the way. Definitely have fun with this. Passion and purpose are so extremely important to success. And sometimes we don't always get to do what we love, but if we start with something that we love, we'll grow and then move on to those things that are harder for us. Angela created the hard thing rule. She does this with her family, with her husband, and I would suggest you do it with your own children, your Stuco kids, and yourself. Let's talk about the 3 rules in the hard thing rule. First of all, you have to choose something that requires deliberate daily practice. You're trying to improve a skill, something that you want to learn. One year at Winter Energizer, we made every kid learn how to juggle. There weren't hardly any kids in the room that knew how to do this, but it took deliberate practice, and it was something that was hard for them. We don't let people quit until the season is over or there's a natural stopping point. So if your child is going to play on the volleyball team, they can't quit midway through the season. Don't let them quit. Set up those rules ahead of time that you have to stick with something until the end. And then finally, you get to pick it, which probably should really be at the beginning of all of this, but they get to choose what they want to practice and what they want to get better at. It makes all the difference in the world when you're doing this to do something, as I mentioned, that you love and that you like. Sometimes it's fun to just start with the fun thing rule, like make sure they're doing things that they find interesting and they find enjoyable, because number one, it helps them not take life quite so seriously. And they can see, if you're doing it with them, that you're also growing through this experience as well. The hard thing rule, it's an awesome way to do things. 6 ways to foster maturity with your Stuco kids. I want you to really think about these, because for some of you, you're already doing it, but not realizing that it's making a difference. Do something scary. Put the microphone in the hand of a kid who maybe is not really wanting to do it, but practice with them, teach them, help them understand that they can be successful, but that it's going to be scary while they're learning to do it. Help them meet influential people. Maybe you're taking them to school board meetings or Chamber of Commerce meetings or Booster Club meetings, and help them meet someone that can be or is influential in their life. Have them do an interview activity with someone who's influential in your community or in your state. Traveling with kids. Now, it's really hard right now to travel with kids. We used to do that all the time before, but traveling with them and taking them someplace different helps them realize that how other people live, how other people do things. And sometimes it's scary to travel outside of your comfort zone. We have to remember that they have to wait and work for something that they want. They have to choose meaningful goals, things that they love. So maybe the first time they're in charge of a committee, it's a committee that they really want to be in charge of. Let kids choose what committees they want to participate in or that they want to be in charge of. And remember that practicing in front of your class, in front of other people, in front of the mirror truly makes a difference. Maturity is not measured by age, and we all know that because we all know lots of people who are old and who are not mature, but it's an attitude that's built through experience. Our students are going to become mature by experiencing things that are hard and tough for them. They're going to mature by doing things that help them to grow, even if it's failing, because our end game is to help them understand that I think I can. I think I can. We want them to reach the top of the mountain. We want them to be able to become successful, but we're going to have to give them some tools in order to do that. Think about how you can use grit in your classroom every day and how it can truly make a difference in the lives of your student council kids. Thanks.